Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Guys Who Stare at Stats, a first AP poll reaction of the year, starting with the Week 2 poll. We didn't cover the preseason poll. Things tend to change a lot from that one to Week 2 even, and as we'll go along here, a few big changes already. As always, before we really get into this, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all those great things. But as we get into it here, Georgia and Ohio State staying number 1 and 2. I mean, no surprise there. Both those teams really doing what they need to do. Georgia, in terms of it getting another dominant win over Clemson. The defense looks great. The offense looks great. Carson Beck making good throws. Everything you want to see from Georgia, you saw. Ohio State, bit of a slow start against Akron, but then they got rolling 52-6. Texas and Alabama next up at 3 and 4. They take care of business as well. Texas over Colorado State, Alabama over Western Kentucky, and then we get to Notre Dame at 5. And Notre Dame is the big one. You go in a tough environment, going to Texas A&M, and Notre Dame looked composed. They looked like a team that can actually make a difference. They have that ability in them this year. The defense played well. You had a strong run game. Riley Leonard was able to make some big runs at times, able to, use his arm when he needed to as well. Notre Dame, huge win there. Absolutely deserved to go up in the poll and be in the top 5 for now. Ole Miss at number 6. They stay exactly where they're at. And then Oregon dropping 4 spots. And for Oregon being at 7, this is deserved. You play FCS Idaho, which is a good FCS team. Idaho's no slouch. It's not like they were in the FBS days. But still, it's the way they played in that game. When you have a situation where you're struggling, it's only 14-0. A lot of people think you should be up way more than that, and you let Idaho come back into this game. You go for it on 4th down, you don't get it. Idaho immediately scores. You go down, get a field goal. Idaho scores again. It's 17-14 all of a sudden in the 4th quarter. You get in a really tough game, a difficult position you should not be in. It's absolutely deserved. Granted, it's early in the season. Oregon could easily bounce back from it, but based off the week of evidence we have, that's going to happen there. Penn State being at 8, I'm a little shocked Penn State didn't jump Oregon as well, considering Penn State went on the road, played West Virginia, took care of business there. Defense looked dominant. Penn State able to really control the game, it felt like, after the rough first quarter for both sides. Penn State was able to establish themselves. They get a very nice win there. Missouri moving up 2 spots to number 9. They shut out Murray State, I should say. 51-0 there. Not a whole lot to talk about. Missouri doing what they should do. Michigan falling down a spot, and you look at that and you go 30-10 over Fresno State. Why'd they move down a spot? Because it was a lot closer than that. You had a competitive game in the 4th quarter. Michigan still trying to figure out who they are offensively. Defensively, I think everyone knows what Michigan's going to be. They're going to be a talented team. They've just got to figure out what they want on the offensive side. Donovan Edwards not getting a ton of carries, only 11, trying to get more of the running backs established, and I get that as well. But when you play a tune-up game and you treat it more like a preseason game than a regular season game, with Texas looming this Saturday now, try to get some things figured out, these types of results can happen. And then Utah moving up a spot to 11, and then you get to the 2 big jumpers. Miami at 12, USC at 13. Miami, the giant win at Florida game. I think most people thought they would win. I didn't know how they would play in it. I thought they'd look a bit worse than they did, but Miami completely blew my expectations away. Cam Ward played like the real deal. What you were able to see at Washington State, he was able to do it again. Damian Martinez, he had a good game as well. Miami absolutely tore Florida up. And that's what Miami needed to do. They needed that big statement win to show this is a different Miami team than last year. If they can keep playing like that, they're going to be rising a lot higher than that. Same thing with USC. I think the main concern everyone had, of course, how is Miller Moss going to play? How is the defense going to look? Is it still going to be bad, or is it going to actually improve a bit? And USC, it's still not perfect. No defense really truly is perfect. But it looked a lot better. You had basic, competent tackling. I think that's what a lot of people wanted to see out of USC this year, so they get the big jump up as well. And then you get to this little middle 4 here. Tennessee, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, all just moving up a spot. And that is because of LSU falling down to 18. And for LSU, I mean, you had several positions to try to win this game. You tie it up 20 apiece. You've just got to settle and play for overtime there. But the defense could not get anything just working their way. USC able to march down the field. You had a silly targeting penalty to it as well. LSU only falling the 5 spots there. And then Kansas moving up to 19, Arizona at 20 in a fun shootout with New Mexico. And then Iowa moving up 4 spots. And I mean, you look at Iowa scoring 40 points. How about that? Having not just one passing touchdown, not just two either, but three. It's incredible to see. I mean, 3 to wide receivers for Iowa is nothing short of what feels like a miracle. So it's good to see for Iowa there jumping up to 21. Then you get Louisville at 22, taking care of business over Austin Peay. Georgia Tech entering the poll at 23. You always kind of love to see this, the little goof of the AP poll. When a team comes in, they're not expecting to be there. They have that blank spot for them. Takes them a moment to get their logo. So even though that's always kind of funny, kind of a sign of success as well to enter it there. Georgia Tech, of course, the big win over Florida State last week in week 0. Poll does an update for that. And then taking care of business against Georgia State again. Georgia Tech rightfully deserving to be ranked. NC State at 24, staying right where they are. Struggled a lot against Western Carolina. I think if this was a different year, we might have seen them drop down a spot or maybe out of things would have been a little bit wonky. But NC State holding on right there. And then Clemson falling all the way to 25. And I mean, this was a Clemson team that just looked terrible on offense. And some of that's Georgia's defense. That's not all just Clemson's offense. But when you have a good defense and you have an offense you're still trying to figure out, Cade Klubnik at times just did not look good at all. And I think it's fair to say that. Clemson's got to try to get better. They're going to have a little bit easier of a time now. You get App State this week, which, as we all know, they're no pushover. You know, no matter how good or bad App State is, they're never a pushover. We'll have to see what Clemson does here to adapt because they looked absolutely pitiful on offense. And when you keep going 3 and out or you have drives that just do not sustain themselves, your defense is going to get tired. You're going to start to wear down. I think, you know, you look at it 6-0 at halftime. Clemson's defense is holding up, but Georgia just keeps beating on them and beating on them and beating them down. Georgia starts running away with it. That's why Clemson has the big fall there, dropping 11 spots all the way to 25. You look at the others receiving votes: Texas A&M, Boston College, Boise State, Iowa State, Memphis. It'll be intriguing to see Nebraska tied with Memphis, both receiving 27 votes. SMU not too far behind. Kind of you consider that your next 5 out there. A&M could easily find a way back in. They play McNeese this week. You just need a little bit to go your way. Say a Tennessee beating North Carolina State. Boston College, they got the big win over Florida State as well. And you notice Florida State not receiving any votes here as they should. You're 0-2. You lost 2 conference games. You're 17th in the ACC. You don't deserve to be in the rankings right now, obviously. Boise State, they had a fun win as well. Iowa State, 21-3 over North Dakota. You look at that, not a whole lot to take away from there. Memphis and Nebraska will be interesting to see over the next few weeks. Memphis will get Florida State, not this upcoming Saturday, but in week 3. And then Nebraska, obviously, the big game with Colorado. There's a chance to make a name for yourself beating a team that some people have certain expectations for. For Nebraska, you need to win those types of games. But folks, that is all for now. We should be back with another video either later tonight or Wednesday morning. And that will be the college football recap for the week. I'll have Tyler Riggs there. Maybe we'll see if Andrew can join as well. But until then, folks, have a good one, everybody.